All right, so Facebook kicked me off, so no one was commenting, so I'm just going to start from the beginning again, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Facebook likes me better this time around. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Evie Burke. I work with entrepreneurs just like you, and I help them take their productivity to a new level. And welcome to Facebook Live with Evie, number 20, and today's topic is messy desks. And a couple of things before we get started is I have a free offer over at my website that you should check out if you are feeling like you need to hit the reset button on your business. If you are feeling overwhelmed and like you just need a way to get a handle on everything that's going on in your business right now, I highly recommend that you head over to oneinsightcloser.com and grab the freebie. It's how to choose priorities when everything is important, and it just gives you a great way to get everything in your head onto a piece of paper and then walks you through how to tell the difference between the things that are really important and the things that you only think are important. And yes, there is a difference sometimes between those two things. So head over there and grab that. And if you are a female, I invite you to head over to Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs and join me over there. That's a private Facebook group where we get together and we just share what's going on in our businesses. Every Monday I ask, what's your top priority for the week? And people tell me that it really helps them focus for the week and make progress on their bigger goals and get a little less lost in the other little tasks that come up during the day. And then on Friday, I ask everybody how they did. So if that sounds like something that would be helpful for you, it's a free group. I'd love to have you over there. Again, that's Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs. And before we get started, I am once again going to share this over into the Facebook event so that people can find it since I'm starting over because Facebook kicked me off. So let's see. I want to share in an event. All right. So, shared that over there, and then in the comments, I will just share and I'll share that there. So you can see that link below. So again, today's topic is, if you see me looking down, I have my notes below the camera here, so that's all that is. So today's topic is messy desks, and what I want to start out with saying is having a messy desk does not mean that you cannot be productive. It doesn't say anything about you or your productivity at all. All it is information that maybe you don't have a home for some things, or maybe you haven't taken the time to put some things away. So it's just information. It doesn't say anything about you unless you decide it does. So just decide that it doesn't mean anything. It just means you haven't had the time or made the time, or that there's a breakdown in your system somewhere, and that's fine. You know, those things can be adjusted. So one of the things that brought this up is my desk is a bit messy, and if you're on my newsletter list, then you learned a little bit about the history of my desk. And the history of it is that my husband created this desk specifically for him in this room, because when we bought this house, we were both working outside of the home, and this room was our home office. And so he created this desk specifically for this room, making it as big as he possibly could for his half of the room. So it's 8 feet long by 3 feet deep. And it's deep because he still had the old type monitors that were very deep, and he wanted some space between his monitor and the keyboard. So it's really nice. It's just there's a lot of space for things to accumulate, and occasionally things accumulate on my desk. And it is rather messy right now. So that brought this topic up for me, and I was remembering a comment that somebody made over in the event for the Q&A I did in my Facebook group probably 3 weeks ago. And she asked the question after the Q&A, and I had answered it there, and I wanted to share that answer with you. So the question was, my desk is a mess right now, and I never take time to clear it off. Seems like a time waster, yet I always stare at it, and it bugs me. Is there a smart way to tackle this stuff so I can move on? So what I shared with her was what I did probably November or December of last year to help clean off my desk. And my desk was really messy then. Like, there were piles of things, and it was deep. And there was a couple other piles here in my office. And what I did was I went and I got one of those large rectangular laundry baskets that we have, and I set it on the floor, and I cleaned off all of the surfaces in my office and put it into the laundry basket. And then I just left it there. And it wasn't in my line of sight when I was at my desk. Obviously, when I came into my office, I could see it there. But it was just off to the side and kind of behind me. And then if something came up where I needed something that had been on my desk, then I would go through the laundry basket and I'd pull it out, and there it was. So that worked really well for me. And then probably after using it for about 3 months, I had some time one day it was probably a Saturday morning, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to clean out that laundry basket and get things put away. And at that point, anything that I really needed was already pulled out. So it was a lot of recycling of papers that I had wanted to save, but I wasn't doing anything with, and things that just needed to find a home. So that said, one of the things to keep in mind as you're cleaning off your desk is, why did this accumulate? What might I need to change in the way that I'm doing things so that this doesn't happen again? And I will say, even though my desk is a little bit of a mess right now, it's not going to take me that much time to clean off, because one of the things I did at the beginning of the year was I looked at what wasn't working, and I made some changes. So I brought in another file cabinet. It's like a Sterilite type file cabinet that will take hanging folders, and the things that I use weekly in my business, those get put in there. So I have a couple of binders for some programs I'm in. I have, for the assessment I do, I have all of my notes for how to do debriefs and all of that information in there. I have client information, and then in the bottom, I'm just looking at it right now. So in the bottom part, what do I have? Let's see. Things have fallen over in here. Oh, in the bottom part, I have just kind of reference material for the business that I might want to refer to later, maybe like programs or PDFs that I've purchased that I printed off and want to keep for reference and might use later. So at some point those will need to go through. I have another file cabinet in my office that is just for bills and contracts and, receipts and those types of things. So that's on the other side. That I touch like twice a month. The one that's close to me are the things that I touch on a more daily basis. The other thing I noticed for me was, and I still have it a little bit, but this has helped a lot, is I tend to accumulate pens on my desk. So I looked at what I could do to just have a spot for the pens and the things that I'm using the most, because I have a little organizer that has all my extras over there, but the ones that I use on a daily basis, I had this little candle holder thing that you could put a votive or something in, that the candle was burned out of it, so I cleaned it out and it holds my pens now. It's a pretty color and it works really well. So that lives on my desk and my pens live there. And what else? I also have like a designated space for me to put piles of paper that accumulate. There's 3 tiers to it. Each tier is for something else, and I think I just need to go through and clean it out again because it's overflowing. But basically, you know, it means that, okay, that's just, I need to take some time and walk through that again. So what are the things that you just maybe need to take a little bit of time and do? And if you just need to put it in a laundry basket right now until you have time to do it, that's fine too. So again, though, notice what is and isn't working for you and make some adjustments. Try something else. And I know I've made a lot of adjustments in my office space over the last 6+ years that I've had my business, and they don't always get me 100% to where I want to be, but they get me so much closer, and it makes my life so much easier having those things put in place. So look around and notice what is and isn't working for you about your current space and the little things that you can do to tweak that. So I purposefully stay away from making big, huge purchases on organizational systems or things like that because I'm not sure how they're going to work for me. So I would much rather try something out for a little bit and see if it works, and then if it does, upgrade, rather than spending a bunch of money and feeling like I have to use it now because I just invested all of this time and money in the system that in reality doesn't actually work for me. So keep that in mind as you do your things. The other thing I want to say is, you know, you might just need to set some time aside to clean off your desk. That's really where I am right now, is I just need to set some time aside and go through it. I've consolidated some of the piles so that it's easier to do that. But really, that's just what has to happen, is I need to set some time aside. So the thing is, a lot of times we think, oh, I need to set aside like 2 hours or an hour, whatever, to get through everything. And that doesn't have to be the case. It could be you set 5 minutes aside every day, or you consolidate into one pile and then you deal with whatever's at the top of that pile, you know, once a day. And slowly that pile starts to dwindle. So that's actually the way that this room got cleaned out. It had become a dumping ground for our stuff. We had moved our offices to the basement, and this desk stayed here. We had bought a couple of new desks for the basement, IKEA. And so this room just became a dumping ground for all of our stuff. And when I started my business, you know, for a while I was working from the dining room table, but it wasn't a long-term solution. And I thought, you know, we have this room that we're not using, so let's clean it out. But there was a lot of junk that had accumulated. So rather than be completely overwhelmed and try to sit down and go through everything at once, what I did was every day I would come in and I would pick one thing or one small group of things that were similar, and I would take them out of the room and decide, okay, what needs to happen with these? You know, does it need to find a new home? Does it need to go to the basement in storage? I really tried to avoid that. Or does it need to visit the trash or the recycle or be given away? What needs to happen with it? And after doing that for probably about a month or two, it was probably about a month, I'd gotten through everything that I could. And at that point, I needed Nate to come in and clean up some of the things that weren't mine. I just didn't know what to do with. And we probably then only spent a couple of hours cleaning out the rest of the office and vacuuming up all the dust. So breaking things into those, one touch a day type systems, that can really make a lot of progress. But the bigger questions are, again, just to touch on these again, what do you need to easily reach on a daily basis? And what can you set in place that makes those easy to find but not clutter-free? So like I said, I have my Sterilite filing cabinet right here, right, where it's easy to pull the things out that I need and easy to put things back in there when I'm done. What needs to be filed close by but maybe not close at hand? So again, for me, it's bills and receipts. They're close by, but I don't need to have quick access to them on a daily basis. Where do you store things that you need once in a while but not a lot? So, and what are those things? So for me, in my closet, I have my old journals. I have old training manuals for programs I've taken. I have extra paper, things like that. Things that I don't need all the time, but, I need them every once in a while, or I want to file them away. I have them there when I need them. And what are the distractions that need to be removed? So what are the things on your desk that distract you? So one of the things that I did is I have a wireless charging station for my phone where it sits my phone up. I have that off to the side where I don't see it, because otherwise, anytime that phone, pops up, oh, you got a text message, oh, whatever happened, I'm going to notice it and it's going to sidetrack me. So I have that off to the side of my desk, and unless it's a text message, it doesn't ding me. Facebook doesn't ding, emails don't ding. Text messages are about the only things that still make a noise on my phone. And alerts. Let's see, what else? What tends to get piled on your desk, and what can you do about it? So again, this is, the paper, books, pens, like I shared. What are those things for you? So again, having a messy desk doesn't mean that you can't be productive or that you're doing something wrong. It just means that something needs to be tweaked. And it could just mean that you're moving so fast that you're not taking the extra couple of seconds to put things away when you're finished with them. Again, it doesn't mean anything unless you assign meaning to it. So if at all possible, don't assign meaning to it. I know sometimes that's easier said than done. If you need some help with that, let me know. So I'm going to end that here. So again, my name is Evie Burke. I help entrepreneurs just like you take their productivity to a new level, so at the end of the day, they can get more done in less time and spend time being fully present with the people that they love. If you need any help with that, let me know. My name's Evie Burke, and until next week, much love.